me well? All the way at the back? It's a big room. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for the last session of the day, I think, the last panel. There was us and another session about scan, so I understand why you're here. It's much better topic. So let me just introduce myself quickly. So I'll be moderating the discussion. My name is Yoann. That's the clicker. I'm the CMO at AIApply. It's a B2C SaaS for job seekers. So we do like AI solutions for people who are looking for a job, doing their CVs, etc. And we just launched our app today, so that's a good timing for me to be here. And just for the context, before that, I managed growth at apps like Deliveroo in the early days, Depop after that, and recently, a few years ago, well, last 2 years ago, a fintech called Nude. So yeah, I've got a few apps under my belt. So this is me. Now the panel. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Freya. I have a marketing agency. We're based in Madrid, specializing in apps, predominantly social impact-driven apps. And we work across all kind of marketing and growth verticals, but we specialize, and like our shiny fun thing is TikTok, specifically creator-driven content for growth and engagement and community building. Through my work there, I've been fortunate enough to become the CMO of Koru, Your Acne Coach, which is an amazing app for Gen Z fighting acne. And they aim to empower them and guide them through expert support. So there's a whole host of experts on board, including dermatologists, lots of features inside of the app, such as like a TikTok-like scroll, so that you can watch lots of videos that are educational from content creators, dermatologists, nutritionists, etc. Tracking, skin tracking, and then also a forum where you can ask questions directly to the experts and get replies all for free for the users. So it's a really lovely app and a lovely place to support.
Nice.
Perfect. Yes, so I'm Mustafa. I'm founder at Shroomi, previous CTO and co-founder at Yoke Network. And similar to Freya, we had a marketing company, 6 years focused on TikTok for mobile apps, generated 20 million installs, 2 billion views on the platform. And now I've taken all those learnings from that into Shroomi to essentially help you make better videos by helping you improve your hooks before you post, retention and conversion as well, and also re-scripting viral videos for yourself. Because yeah, good artists copy, but great artists still. So I'm trying to automate that. Yeah.
Nice. Nice to meet you guys. So before we get into the creative part, so we've got creative examples, which I'm sure you're all excited to see. We're gonna dissect them and see the kind of insights from both of you and what's working, what's not. And we've got a few questions after that. But before, I had a traditional icebreaker to ask you. So we'll start with that. Which outdated piece of tech or marketing jargon do you want to secretly bring back?
I feel like I'm not that old to be able to drag something back, but I wanted Ping Me, from BlackBerry.
Nice.
Because I think I spend too much time on my screen time is over 8 hours a day. I'm suffering, and I would like a BlackBerry back in my life. My finger is phone clawing from the iPhone, so that would be refreshing, I think, to have
I like that.
That makes sense. No, I thought the same thing. I don't think I'm that old to bring things back, but I used this word yesterday, and it made me feel smart, but doesn't mean much. But K factor. And I mentioned it to someone in healthcare, and they were like, yeah, it makes sense. And I just was like, it didn't even make sense in that scenario, but I haven't heard it in 5 years.
Yeah.
But I used it, and it worked, so.
Yeah, I haven't used it for a bit, but I used to say in meetings, and it makes you sound smart.
Oh, yeah, 100%. You know what's happening.
Yeah, they ask you to explain what it is. It's the K factor. I actually had the same as you. I was thinking about BlackBerry, and yeah, so you stole mine. Fine. Let's move on. So first creatives will be from you, Freya.
Yes.
So we'll have a look at them both and then pause and...
Let's do one at a time.
One at a time?
Yeah,
okay.
It's all right, because then I won't forget what I'm doing.
Yes.
Right. Just for context, this is in Spanish and the next one is in French. We work across the UK, US and Europe, so I've subtitled it for everybody, so I'm sorry about that.
En top aplicaciones que necesitabas y no sabías, te traigo una que si tienes acné, amigo, te interesa conocer. Esta aplicación para tu nuevo mejor amigo se llama Koru y punto uno que nos interesa a todos saber, ya lo digo, es gratuita, por lo cual empezamos fuerte. Además, no venden ni productos ni representa marcas y está respaldada por dermatólogos. Es decir, el pinky consejo no es de tu vecina del quinto, sino de alguien profesional que tiene experiencia en el sector. El primer apartado es el apartado de coach, ¿vale? Y aquí aparece consultar tu skincare, lo que te echas los productos, aceptar nuevos challenges, por ejemplo, yo en el que estoy es el de echarme crema solar porque lo llevo un poco mal. Este apartado es mi favorito, es maravilloso, se llama Corusel y es como formato TikTok porque te aparecen vídeos también de dermatólogos hablándote sobre distintos temas dentro del acné. Este, por ejemplo, era de los lácteos y cómo influyen, muy interesante. Y también te salen como tips e información que a lo mejor no conocías, que te puede ayudar mogollón a entender tu tipo de piel y a cómo tratarla. Después está el apartado de perfil, pero el del progreso es que es maravilloso y es uno con el que puedes registrar esta herramienta, pues cómo va evolucionando tu acné y además te hace como un quiz en plan de cómo te sientes hoy, has consumido, has dejado de consumir, has consumido lácteos para entender un poco y te hace encima un gráfico de cómo evoluciona, es que es maravilloso. Este apartado encima me parece brutal porque cuando vayas tú a tu dermatólogo tienes como un registro de cómo ha ido evolucionando o yo que sé, a mí el dermatólogo me da una cita cada no sé cuántos meses, pues decir, pues mira, sí ha ido. Además hace falta que se hable más sobre este tema que casi no se habla, 100% recomendable, instalársela ya, señores.
Okay, so to give you a bit of context on this video with Koru, Koru is 1 year old. So a year ago we launched, we started the bread and butter, Google ads, Meta ads, Apple ads. We were solid. Everything was super predictable. CPIs, you know, it's a free app. It's super helpful to people that really need it. So CPIs were really low. But we had no sparkle, we had no explosive growth. You know, we were limited on budget as a startup. So we really wanted to turn to TikTok. But we weren't 100% sure how to approach it. Spent a long time analyzing everybody else's work, then a long time searching, and finally we found Sonsolis. She was with 20,000 followers. For context and transparency, the video cost us 250 euros. She was fantastic. She'd never worked with a brand before, and we reached out to her, we pitched her the idea, and we said, look, the brief is really simple. There's the 4 talking points. However you want to do it, go ahead, but we really want you to show and tell the app. Put some screenshots, throw them around, and just be super authentic. Her audience is not acne focused. She talks about college things and studying and study tips and how she uses her iPad. So it wasn't a natural assumption for us that this would go well. We maybe assumed that it would be someone with really severe acne that had a really solid acne audience. Anyway, we just had like a magical feeling about her. Anyway, we went ahead with the video and we had, I mean, it's all relatively small scale, but we had 600 organic installs overnight. So we were delighted and we knew we were on something. We left it a few days. We were thinking about what to do, researching. We went back to her, can we have your Spark Ads code, please? She's like, yeah, go on then. And with that, we were able to promote it for weeks and weeks and weeks, raking in the installs at a super low cost of under 20 cents per install with really high conversion rates, like really high for us because we need registered users to go through quite a long and detailed onboarding process with all their acne and markers and things like that. And we just found it was fantastic. This video got us 80,000 views organically, and it's now over 2.5 million on TikTok. And really my point from that is you don't need a video with 7 million views overnight to become some sort of viral success and have the impact that you think that you need. You know, 50, 60, 100,000 views with some Spark ads, which are really low cost once you have something with viral potential, can make a massive, massive impact to you. And we continue to see organic growth ever since. We then since hired Sonsolis as our intern. Wow. Because we loved her so much. She's exactly in real life as she is here. And that would also be another sneaky tip, is like try and get these young people on your team. Like they have so much energy, so much enthusiasm, and they know the whole platform like above and beyond better than I ever could, even though I like to think I'm like cool and down with the kids. So yeah.
That's great. I was going to ask you, was there any learning on the length of the video? Because, you know, like sometimes very short work, sometimes like this one, I didn't count, but like...
Over a minute.
Over a minute,
yeah.
For sure, probably 2 minutes. Like, was that intentional? Did you do it again, or did you try different?
Well, this was the first try, so we really didn't care. You know, we were just kind of like, we'll leave it into the universe and see what happens.
Yeah.
Since we've tested it, and longer format is much better for us.
Okay.
I was always obsessed with like getting the point across really quickly, 7 seconds, and all of that goes around. And no, we found this much longer storytelling works better.
No, that's awesome. I don't speak Spanish. I was sold. So, it works.
She gives it with the vibes, right?
It does, yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. Ah, this one I understand.
There you go.
J'aurais aimé connaître ça quand j'avais de l'acné, donc aujourd'hui je vous en parle. C'est une application qui s'appelle Koru, je ne sais pas. C'est une application pour lutter contre votre acné, mieux comprendre d'où il vient, quelles sont vos mauvaises habitudes, un peu tout ça. Je vous rassure tout de suite, cette application, elle est 100% gratuite. Quand vous arrivez sur l'application, vous avez une partie qui s'appelle Koru. Et dans cette partie, vous avez plein de petits tips pour lutter contre votre acné, que je suis sûre que vous ne touchiez même pas. Par exemple, je suis sûre que vous ne saviez pas que quand on fait du sport, il faut porter des vêtements serrés et pas des vêtements amples. Et moi non plus, je ne le savais pas avant de connaître Koru. Pareil, j'étais pas au courant que l'alcool et le manque de sommeil, c'était hyper mauvais pour la peau et c'est ce qui pouvait provoquer de l'acné. Donc si vous voulez plus d'acné, les soirées boîte de night, c'est fini. Bien sûr, c'est une blague. Détendez-vous. Sinon, vous avez une autre partie qui s'appelle Challenge Yourself. Merci pour ce bel accent. En fait, c'est plein de petits challenges par jour, par mois, par semaine pour vous aider dans votre quotidien en fait. Par exemple, boire tant de litres d'eau toutes les 3 heures. Maintenant, je bois 2 litres d'eau par jour, alors qu'avant, je devais boire mais 1 verre d'eau par jour. Et l'hydratation, c'est hyper important. Bref, je vais pas tout vous spoiler non plus. Après, je préfère vous prévenir, faut pas vous dire qu'en téléchargeant l'application, vous aurez plus du tout d'acné. Mais vous allez mieux comprendre d'où vient le problème et comment le traiter surtout. Je crois que je vous ai tout dit, j'espère que j'ai rien oublié. Et puis j'attends vos petits retours. Et je vous fais de gros bisous.
Cute, no?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd won the lottery with Sonsolas, and we actually just thought it was like beginner's luck and that would never happen to us again. We spent weeks, hours, many people searching through the internet. We used all of the data that we had from Sonsolas to kind of compile some restrictions towards creators. And we really went for it. So we tested with loads of creators following this, and then Lola was kind of our big break. We had over 6,000 iOS installs overnight. It had 100,000 views, which has since gone up to 3 million with some promotion. The main thing from this was overnight 4,000 saves. I would say that saves are the biggest marker here to look at. A lot of people are obsessed with potentially views or the comments. Comments can be really valuable as long as they're relevant comments, not like, oh, where's that lipstick from and things like that. And so that was incredible. I think what works for this is you're kind of chuckling, so it was kind of funny. Yeah. It's not hilarious, but it has a sense of humor within it. She speaks really quickly, even in French.
It's the way she has like the natural expression because it's natural the way she's filming it. So yeah,
it's
it comes
natural,
across really funny.
And it's such a silly thing to identify, but she has so many bracelets. In all of her videos, she has all these bracelets and they're clattering around and like you can't keep your eyes off them. And she's doing all these things with her hands. And video after video is constantly performing in this way. And we were a bit skeptical with our choice of her because essentially this was our first experiment into more sales-focused creators. She's constantly promoting products, constantly trying to get people to buy things. And we just thought, you know what, maybe this is the right thing to test. And thankfully it was. I would say that now we really identify a sales spirit within the creators that we work with Koru, but across all of our other clients, there's a massive difference between a creator that can create this viral moment and this brand awareness, and there's a difference between a creator that can convert. To give you some kind of ideas on that, we looked at our Apple Connect after this had happened, and we had a 98% conversion of users going onto the App Store and converting into installing the app. Granted, it's free, but it's still, virtually perfect score. Our registration of users went up by 22%. All of our metrics increased, engagement, retention, everything just became like massively healthy. And we've since had hundreds of app installs a day. This is months ago now, so we've just consistently reaped the rewards of this over time.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I think the common thread between the two is the like quick cuts. There's always something happening. She starts putting it on her face, and like there's always something to look at while she's talking.
Yeah, and they're not too clean. They're not on the brand new iPhone. They're not shot with the back camera. It's very natural, and they're girls talking to girls, and that's what was important to us.
Another question: how did you, if at all, how did you scale this, finding more? Because when you find success like this, is like how much more can you do basically? Yeah. Like, did you?
So we analyzed all of the data, all of the likes, save, shares. We also go back and drag out all of their past performance. Mm-hmm. We've been able to create top secret models, unfortunately, that I can't share, but where we input the creators' information that we find that gives us a confidence level. So we're able to essentially waste less money, move quicker. But at the end of the day, like, for us, this is a really high reward activity, but it's also super intensive in workload, time, energy, effort. outreach, negotiation.
Yeah.
You know, the whole process is strenuous, but when it's right, it's above and beyond worth it. Our CPIs on this, we've spent thousands of euros on Spark ads in the first few days, and our CPIs were 0.6.
Yeah. I think you said, is it 0.6 or 0.06?
Like 6 cents.
6 cents, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Really good. And I was going to say as well, like when you, because it's happening to us, when you start talking to people who are doing content like that, UGC creators or just like this, let's just say creators in general, you get bombarded in your emails. I think there's some like system that like find you as a brand kind of like marketer, and like they will reach out to you. So you can also scroll and find them yourself and find the ones that are just starting, that have a good style, but you will also get bombarded in emails, and you just have to like go through. And they will all kind of be like, when they're starting in that kind of range, the cost that you mentioned, sometimes less even. So yeah, you can definitely strike some good deals.
We're so specific in who we work with. We really want to capture people. Like, we don't like to work with people with management. It increases the cost, it increases the like bureaucracy of it. And they're already captured and found. You know, we want raw talent right at the beginning where we can have potential.
I think that works well. It depends on the size of your business. Obviously, if you're like a big brand with like almost non-unlimited budget, but a big budget, you will go through a talent agency and you will pay whatever they tell you it is. But I also find when you come from like the startup world and you're just starting and you're trying to squeeze as much as possible with your budget, going through an agent is just like, I just think that industry has been created to just like milk the brand on top of that.
So I've worked with talent agencies, and it just longs things out so much. I think when it comes to TikTok and short form's all about formats. So once you find that format that works, it's about then efficiency and the logistics. So if you can churn out like another 5 videos in the next couple of days, then you need to be able to do that as quickly as possible. And if it drags on longer, for us, when we had, you know, the agency, it was client delays. So we'd have to ask for more creative control so we could just speed things up, because that backs out in the CPA, that backs out in the actual results, because we can just optimize that much quicker. But I get you. And there's so many creators like that that you can just replicate.
Exactly.
Also, the more you pay for something, the more you want to tweak it when it comes back, and you feel like you have like the right to creative control. I would never send anything back for a revision with a creator unless there was something like the biggest red flag. Every time we've thought about it, we haven't done it. The video's gone super well, and I've thought, thank God we didn't do that. You know, you don't want to interfere.
I agree. The only 2 things I always go back to when that could go wrong with that kind of creative is like the name of the company is not said right, or the sound is too low. You know, that's like very like simple things. But the rest is like keep it as raw as possible. Right. Let's move on to you, Mustafa. I think they're just right next.
I screenshotted this the other day. I was like, this is such a good one.
Do you know what's crazy is that so shout out the Bible chat guys. I actually didn't know you guys were coming. So it was just funny because this is something that I've mentioned to clients and customers. Just a video that came up for me, and I just see, you know, these things when I'm looking, and I'm like, all right, cool. What's the strategy behind it? The video's good, and this is something, funny enough, I used to work with Mate. So like, this is stuff we've been able to scale over time, the same formats, because it's quick, yes, but also it's just straight to, you know, it's reaction clip, straight to show me, don't tell, do you know what I mean? It's just straight to the point about, cool, this is what the app's about, right? And then obviously the comments will talk a bit more about it, but I think you're gonna see some themes in even the next video as well, but you know, there's something that's working right now, which is like, I'm gonna call it like multi-creator account networks. So it's like this creator, Vanessa, which I know because her @ is now Nessa Bible Chat. And it's funny because that's not her main account, but that's an account that is now dedicated to Bible Chat, right? I would assume, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's way cheaper, easier to negotiate because it's not going on her page. And you can build that page out separately. And I could have picked one of 50 videos because it's about, again, they were able to iterate like so quickly, and there's so many different videos because Vanessa, if you actually do check the page, it's reaction clips, right? She can film 10, 20, 30 in one day, in one sitting. You pay her for that time, you know? And then quite quickly, if you have like a, I don't know, internal editing team or video editing agency or something, they can churn out videos quite quickly. So Mate knows that we used to do the same thing. Get the hook, like the first clip, see it as a modular kind of perspective, get the hook, and then see if you can keep the rest of the kind of video the same, cool. If not, you can test that a little bit. But it's just so easy to just scale and replicate. And for the creator, like we said, it's not just about, you know, okay, you can get them to change so many things, but if you can make that process efficient, then you can say, right, cool, here's your money. You know, go about your day, we'll do the rest, and you can just churn that out like so quickly. So I've seen this, and you know, I've spoken to at least Mate, but you know, you're able to then build these accounts out for other creators, and it's the same process I think you guys have gone through, where the same model works, where cool, put it out organically. If it works, great. Spark ads, or you know, use it across Facebook or whatever it is, and you know, you could pay 200 euros for this, or 200. I don't know why I said euros, but you pay a bit of money for it. But you can then, you know, get that money back like tenfold because you're spreading that across different channels, making sure that you're actually targeting people. So yeah, I thought that was really good in general. And the reaction clip is just super simple, creates intrigue, straight to the point.
That's really good. Just as a show of hand, is anyone in the room is doing the kind of multi-account creator format kind of strategy? Raise your hand. All right, this is very new.
There's one.
One hand, two maybe? Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm glad we're talking about this because I think this is definitely getting more and more popular. For like some apps are doing it very well. They're like scaled to like hundreds of accounts. And like you said, the key is to find at least one viral format. What I like about this is like what we used to joke about as marketers, like the make it go viral joke that we don't like. It's kind of becoming true nowadays with TikTok, especially with apps, with this strategy, because you can kind of engineer or find your viral moment within your app, especially if your app is like very niche and to the point and has like a specific feature that you can lean towards to. Like you can effectively find a format that will get you the views, and it doesn't have to be millions. It could be like a consistent 20, 30,000 views or whatever.
Yeah, it can be different formats, like
it could be
different
different formats. Yeah.
Again, it's just like I see a lot of like apps. You know, they try and post on TikTok organically and try and find like a viral hit, but the odds of that are so low. Like you have to find someone else that's doing it well, try and replicate that, but also like test it systematically because you know, cool, you can test 5 different concepts, but if there's no like control factor, then it's just you're just throwing stuff out there, getting 500 views every video.
Exactly, and you don't have to start from nothing as well. Like this kind of format can work with many other type of apps. It's kind of a reaction video combined with a B-roll video of your product. And once you find that, then it's just a scale number. It's like how much are you willing to pay for your CPM? And it's a view kind of game, right? So yeah, super interesting. Let's move on to the next one.
My sister spent over $50,000 on her wedding, but this one cheap wedding idea stood out the most. As her guests entered, they scanned a QR code that gave them a free disposable camera on their phones. Then each guest could take up to 25 photos throughout the night, and all of them would go to a shared album the next day. Everyone loved this idea, and the app they had used for it is called POV.
Yeah, so again, another short one, but the reason why I picked that one is because it got me. That woman is AI. The whole thing's fake. And it was viral organically, and then they, after that, again, did the same process of Spark ads, right? But I don't know how long it took you guys, but for me, when I was on my phone, it took me at least like 15, 20 seconds. But I go to the comments immediately, and then I was like, no way, because I've tested AI UGC, and it's been hyped and everything. When I've tested it, I've tried to use like full clips and everything, but problem I had is at some point the AI creator would just just glitch, like it'll just you know the mic like just goes into their mouth or something. Something crazy happens, and I'm just like, okay, this is not believable, right? But I think what was really cool here is I would assume intentionally like try to control where your eyes are going. That first clip, the hook, is not only, you know, it's a moving clip in the background, and they talk about, you know, their sister getting married, right? You're in the story immediately, and you're focused on the moving background. I was, at least, right? But they've also made the creator like a green screen, really small, something in the back. So it means that if her arm does glitch, like less of the screen is focused on that, you know? So they really isolate that, because that often happens a lot. And then it's just straight clip, clip, clip. And some of them are just pictures, right? Yeah. But especially with the hook, oftentimes money is just a hook that just works consistently across everything. Like some of the highest performing apps I've had, money hooks related to it if possible. And when you have the money hook, but also engaging story at the same time, like they were able to pull off this, and I think they got like 300,000 likes. I haven't actually seen the actual performance data, but it went viral naturally. And then also they were able to scale it across ads. And same thing as Bible Chat, this is one page of at least 10 to 15 that I found of, like, I think it was called like Her Special Weddings. Then they've got a POV Special Weddings, Wedding Insights, and loads of different things. But AI creators, again, it's not the same as like, you know, having one creator do it, but they're churning out so many kind of iterations of these concepts once they find a format. And I'd say, cool, 10 of them get 1,000 views, don't work. One gets 60, one gets 300,000. They scale those up. And across 10 to 15 different channels, they're able to do this consistently. So these are like some of the common themes across both, where they are applying organic and also, but trying to predictably scale organically, and then using Spark ads after that. And it's like formats that work, and they wanted to use AI UGC, so they clearly have tested it and realized there are some drawbacks with it, and how can we actually limit this the best? So I thought I was really genius, really just making the creator small and focusing on the background as much as possible.
That's awesome. Is that something that you tried yet?
I'm not into AI in creators. I'm terrified. I've seen this 10 times this last 2 weeks, right? I'm like, it's all over my page. I had no idea that was AI. I genuinely, and I feel like I'm pretty good at spotting. I think because the distraction was that everyone loves a wedding, and you know, you're so into it. It never occurred to me.
Honestly, I was like, look, at some point I'm going to get married. Let me just see if I can save some money too. But then it hooked me throughout, and by the time I really noticed, it was basically over. So
yeah. And disposable cameras are so expensive nowadays. So yeah,
exactly.
For those who used to use them before when they were like £5, now they're 20. So yeah, super, super cool. And another show of hand, who's trying AI creatives at the moment? More hands. 5, 6, maybe 10 people in total. Great. I think next year is going to be more. But I wanted to ask you, like, what do you think, like, about this AI trend for content, organically and paid? Like, is it just going to accelerate, you think? Like, are you going to get convinced, Freya, and like, get into it? Or do you think it's going to take a bit more time? Like, what's your view?
Do you know what? So I like to bucket things differently. So there's the AI UGC, or creates a hype and wave. It's a little bit scary, but also, like, you can see the efficiencies there. Yeah. That's not the most exciting thing for me. I'm more interested in, like, the process and the workflows that we have when making creatives. Like, how can we actually, like, simplify things? How can we use AI to, like, speed things up? And like all of these, like, ChatGPT recently has dropped, obviously, the static ad kind of generator. Yeah. That went crazy. So, like, there's all of these things that, are, able to be used in the right way, hopefully, that are really exciting. I spoke to a creator recently that we used to work with heavily. They've got 8 million followers. Wow. They haven't posted in ages, but he's looking to basically start posting again. But he created an avatar of himself, and he already speaks in a weird way. So, like, it was not crazy, but he is now looking to monetize by using, just churning out, getting AI to, like, create those scripts, build a pipeline out, create content, and then using it to get paid through TikTok's creator reward program, do ads and everything like that. And I'm like, from a founder's perspective and an entrepreneur, like, it's about efficiency. Yeah. And those efficiencies are just a big bonus for me, because when we were running campaigns before, at my previous company, we would all do like a pre-campaign meeting and like come up with ideas, have ideation. We're looking at PP ads library, like organic. And we're looking at all these, different videos, our teams coming together and saying, all right, cool. These are the videos that we kind of want to base things off, right? Come up with concepts, write briefs. If I actually calculate, that's like 15 to 20 hours of company time on, like one campaign. We had dozens. So like when we're doing that, I'm looking, right, how can we actually make that way quicker with AI? And I think that's some of the value that's going to happen. It's really going to empower us or something.
Yeah. That makes sense. What about you?
Well, I would say the reason that we're not using it at the moment is because we work in sensitive spaces, right?
Yes.
Acne, healthcare, women's health, and all these things.
Yeah.
And we really rely on the level of trust and reliability that can be built up and given by the specific creator themselves. I'm also obsessed with the concept that I think that the creator has this little micro ecosystem, and that essentially that's the best targeting you can ever buy yourself. My hypothesis, and I'd love to find someone from TikTok to talk about this with, is that once you've done that, once you've tapped in, once the video's gone well, when you start boosting it, you don't need to do any targeting. You literally just put the ad with as little touch as possible, because all of that has been provided for you. However, AI, we do use it in certain ways. I would really encourage everyone to look into synthetic users, which is a program, a website where you can create essentially surveys, super users for your app. It's got a 90-something% efficacy rate, so it's incredible. Working with Gen Z, getting an answer out of a 16-year-old on what they think about the app can be sometimes a bit disheartening. So we've had to be creative and work around. So I think there's ways, even if you're not wanting to use it, but not necessarily consumer-facing, that you can, build your team out with it.
Yeah. I agree. I think ultimately we're moving into like a hybrid kind of situation where like there's a lot of value for real humans with audiences and like influencers to have some success as long as the price is right. And on the other end, talking about price, you can experiment a lot of things with AI at like ridiculous cost. Last time I checked, for the test that we actually done, we ran 10 accounts AI generated for like a couple of months, I think, and like the cost per video was like $1. So like the 250 that you were talking about, like that's the leverage. Like if you can bring down your cost per video that low, then you can experiment a lot more. It doesn't necessarily guarantee the views. We try them organically, we try to be off paid, but and we had some success, but not as much as the human. But we'll keep testing because eventually that's going to flip. That video, I didn't actually realize it was AI as well. Like I was quite surprised. So
I think, with the AI, it's interesting you tested it, because it's like, I tried it, I gave up quite quickly, but again, it's a volume thing. I think that's how it works. It's like volume, and ideally, I'm trying to figure out how we can just, at least like try to analyze data and like make it a bit more quality. But it's a volume play. You got to test a bunch, and then something ideally will work. But also, like, if it does cost $1, you can still like test with AI and then decide to use real creators at that point with more knowledge that this format works, because it's similar to like, I know gaming companies used to, just create like demos of games before actually building them, run those as ads, see how it performs, and after that you can go off and actually deploy more capital. I think that could be an interesting way of using it.
How many iterations are you making of each video? Is it 100? Is it 1,000? Like, where's the...
Right now, so with that, I'd say, I think you can just do 5 to 10 of a particular concept, because we would always do that, where it's like, you want to test, like, you want to see things as a framework of like hook, format, creator, main body, etc. Like break things up into what's actually the factors that you can control. And then you want to see how you can actually highlight one, like hook, for example, is the easiest thing. Test 10 hooks, 5 hooks, or whatever it is for that concept, for that creator. And then you can kind of double down on that. You start to get data in where you understand this hook is working, but this body is not working. And then how about if we try this body with this hook and kind of go from there, or this format is just killing it.
Yeah. That makes sense. I wanted to ask you, is there any other formats that you've seen working besides the example that you've shown, or at least that you find interesting that you've seen around?
On TikTok?
On TikTok or Reels, or like for organic or paid?
I'm really into, in general, founder-led content.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
obsessed with it. I think you are as well. We were chatting about it earlier. I think if you can do it as a founder, that is the most powerful thing you'll ever have. It's not an app, but Salt recently launched. It's an electrolytes company. It's two, a young guy and a young girl, and they're launching this product, and they've been through the ringer with it.
Yeah.
And they have 8,000 followers on TikTok, and they're suddenly sold out the day they launch, and that would never happen on a low budget without that. And it's inspirational. You're hooked in it, and that's my obsession.
No, that's a good point. It always works. Like I posted my first ever TikTok last month, and did this. I showed you guys. We were talking about it, and I was just like, look, no one's gonna get distribution for me. Let me just actually use my product and promote my product too. But I had 74 followers. The video got 180K views, and I've actually got customers off the back of that as well. And it works. It consistently works, because when you're tapping into Gen Z and a younger audience, they care about these things. You're providing an engaging story because it's about you and your trials and tribulations, and they can relate to that.
Yeah.
So I would use that.
Yeah.
Any other formats you want to share?
Formats. Do you know what? It's less formats, but I actually learned something recently where there's an app called Cow AI. I think you might know about it.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to a few people, and I found out the way they grew the app, predominantly organic, right? And now they're using kind of paid channels as well. But on TikTok, they hired an army of high school students essentially to control the comments. This is something I've never done, but it makes complete sense, because immediately, even with that video, I looked at the video, I checked the comments immediately, and you are trying to figure out, all right, what are people talking about? So what they would do is they'd have an ad, which different to the ads that we've shown, where it's a normal creator doing typical day-to-day things, Cow AI in the middle being used, and you go about your day. Naturally, that should get decent views, but in the comments, then people would be like, oh, what is that? And then they're replying to each other, and they're liking each other's kind of comments and stuff like that. And then immediately, if you're getting all those views, everyone's going to the comments, and then they're starting to see Cow AI, then organics start to lift. TikTok's already great for organics, but if you can even boost that even more, it's even better. So I think that's an interesting thing I've not yet tested, but if anyone wants to test it out there, go for it.
Yeah, good one. We've got 4 or 5 minutes left, and a couple of questions. If you have more questions on the slide, there we go, they're coming in. We'll get a few. First one, how do you envision AI for UGC working in the food industry? Have you tried AI in the food?
Not my
food?
department. Have you done
I
it?
think I've tried a bit, but do you have anything?
No, I've not tested it. I've not tested it, but I would assume it works the same way.
Yeah, from what I've seen, it's pretty good at doing food. Yeah. Like you mentioned, the latest ChatGPT image kind of generation. You can do crazy statics with that. I'm sure you can make any recipe or any kind of plates of food that you want, and combine that with something that we're seeing, like static ads are not going away. They're working really well in combination with videos. And the beauty with AI and statics is that you can make an unlimited amount, literally in just a few minutes, and launch them straight away, as long as you've got the budget for testing. There's one thing that we didn't mention is all of this is also capped by how much can you spend in testing, because obviously we're on Meta ads or TikTok, you need a certain amount on an ad to actually be relevant in terms of testing it and having significant results. So that's maybe the limitation in testing 1,000 ads. That sounds good on paper, but you need to be able to do it. But I think for the food industry, definitely makes sense. At least for static, for video. I think I've seen the updated version of Will Smith eating a plate of spaghetti. It used to be really bad a year ago, and now it's super good and super realistic. So yeah, I'm sure it's pretty good. How do you combine paid and organic channels in UGC content?
Interesting. There's quite a few UGC kind of questions, but it's paid channels and organic. So exactly how we said, really, you can choose to just go direct to paid. Again, that probably be quicker to be able to test things. As long as, so what we used to do essentially is we would get a creator to film multiple clips, film a couple bodies, and a number of hooks. And then if you're able to actually kind of stitch these together yourself again, you get volume. If you're paying $200, whatever it is, you get that cost down lower. But you're able to test all of these things quite quickly. So if you want to go straight for paid, then by all means do that. Get someone to edit it together and then kind of put it all out there, test it, and then go from there. Organic-wise, I would say, again, it's a volume play, but also looking at formats that have done well. So as I said at the beginning, I'm a big advocate for, good art is copy, but great art is still, right? Like you look at, PP ads, you look at, if you're looking directly at organic, search and then filter by likes and then look at the last 3 months or so. Look at a specific topic, what's actually, working, right? And then see if you can take that format and apply it to whatever product you have. So this is a problem I'm trying to solve personally, but that's the kind of process. If you're trying to actually work organically, don't think about, I need to think of this concept that's going to work well. There's formats that already work, and you just need to figure out how you can test those formats and just double down and get as many shots as possible, really.
We're slightly different to you. I won't put money behind anything that I haven't seen. Really? I need to see organic installs coming through before I'm putting money. We know we can do that. We know that we have the ability to get that. And so that's our benchmark. And I would say we avoid UGC creators at all costs, especially ones that are like Freya UGC as the profile. We really don't even feel like we're working with influencers. We feel like we are working with creators. And I would really urge everyone to at least explore or think about that space. That's
actually a good point. Like UGC in general, I think from an app perspective, we think we know the type of creators, but you're right. There's some way it's it's not gonna work. So you kind of need to have that eye for the creators that will work, because we had a number of UGC creators sign up to our app over the past few years where they're trying to work with us, right? And I've just looked at their profiles and I've gone, all right, cool, I'll let this one through. And then their content is terrible. Not every creator knows how to make good content. Yeah. So you need to find that kind of...
And it's competitive out there. Yeah, it's tough, you've got to find the way that works for you.
Great. There was one question that was voted 4 times. I actually realized there was vote next to the question. So it was about trust and AI and do we think it's going to damage the brand?
Yes, I think so in the short term. In the long term, now looking at that, I'm worried. Yeah. In the short term, I wouldn't work with an influencer that also gave their image rights to be AI on the basis of who else is using that and where's it going. Long term, I think we've got limitless potential, and I'll eat my words in 5 years probably.
Yeah, I think with AI, the kind of drawbacks with it is it depends who's using it, right? I think. Again, we're competing with everyone in the world. Yes, at some point they're gonna just flood the market with AI content that's terrible or easy to spot or whatnot. And yes, it will. I think it will damage trust. Yeah. I think things are getting better, and ideally, hopefully, marketers are getting smarter on how they can leverage AI. But right now, I've seen pretty terrible ones that you can spot immediately, and you're just like, oh, no.
I think you can split. You can use your brand accounts with real people, and then you can do some tests on side accounts or burner accounts with AI, and maybe that's a good way to keep your...
Or even just using AI really transparently.
Oh yeah,
I think there's a fun way to approach that. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but hi, I'm AI and I'm here to tell you, there's ways of...
Yeah, I might use that.
Good, cool. Let me know how it goes.
Thank you very much, guys.
Pleasure,
thank you for attending. Thank you for your questions. And have a good rest of the day. See you at the drinks.